Hey, everybody, and welcome to this first episode of 2024 for the Party Invite Show. I'm your host, Tegan. I'm joined, as always, by Vilos and Obsidianite.
Oh yeah.
Hi.
Hello, and it's good to be back. We are going to focus on a topic this session that is predicting the gaming trends of 2024. We went back and forth on what we wanted to do for today's episode because we haven't recorded a normal episode in a month. A month ago was the Game Awards. December was crazy busy, and my job is, you know, just nutso right now, so I couldn't get time off to record. So it's kind of off to a weird start, but I'm glad we can start this kind of doing a look ahead. I always like the idea of excuse me, like the ritual of looking ahead at something and then looking back at it when you're done. Because as somebody who likes to multitask and spin a lot of plates at the same time, if I don't sit down and kind of look at things as a whole every once in a while, then it's all just a big jumble. Just like my playtime in Noida, it could be anything. My takeaways could be completely unrealistic from what's actually happened. So I'm excited to look forward on this. Of course, next week we'll have a what we've been playing episode. We've played so many games that we have not talked to each other about. We haven't posted anywhere online in an official capacity. We never talked about all the demos I played for Extra Life. I played a bunch of stuff in December that was sitting in my library. I played some new stuff that I bought on sale on PlayStation. And I tell you what, Steam really, really wants me to buy Warhammer Chaos Gate or whatever, the XCOM like. I think that game goes on sale every other week, and it tries to get me to buy it every time.
Is it on your wish list?
It's on my wish list, but
That's probably why then.
I'm like,
Because
but I mean, the game is on sale every 2 weeks. Like most games go on sale like maybe once a month.
take it off your wish list then.
Well, but I'm still eyeballing if it gets low enough. So I'm not
Okay.
upset about it, but it's just funny that this game is like, please buy me now.
Just like, excuse me, sir, do you have a moment to spare?
Right? Myth Force is another one that has gone on sale, and I'm like, I thought everyone got fired. I thought when
Oh no, it's still a
Embracer Group,
completely dead game. They're just hoping, man.
man, shame. But hey, that'll come back. I'll have something to say about that when we do our look forward. But hey, let's start with blissing up. Let's do the dang thing. Let's see what we have to be optimistic about in our gaming lives and otherwise. Anybody out in the world, if you want to let us know, we've got a Blissing Up channel on our Discord, or you can reach out on any of our socials. We'd love to hear the things that have made you smile, and we might even read them here on the show. I will start. I currently have a brand new gaming desk, and it is
Hey!
being used as a table behind me. It's still in the box, and there's a lot of folded laundry on it.
Wow.
It
But
looks a lot like Discord glaciers.
it does. But I'm really excited about that. Thanks to our longtime community member Lang for hooking me up with a deal on a desk. He found
Oh, wow.
he found a deal on Amazon that
It
was like
It was like
$160 off.
160 off. Like what?
Yeah, and it's a quality thing. Good reviews. I mean, it was exactly what I needed because I wanted a desk that was sit and stand, that I could press the button and stand. Because I sit too much. I sit too much when I'm gaming. I'm sitting for well, I mean, I can tell you guys this. It's because, we're all friends here. But I might be sitting for like 12 hours, and I'll only get up to like grab a snack or go to the bathroom and stuff. And that's too much. That's way too much sitting. So hopefully I can incorporate standing in this because standing just feels better for me, and my knees and back are not getting any younger. But not only is it the sit-stand model, but it's an L-shaped desk, which was something that I had trouble finding. I've also discovered through...
Wait, an L-shaped stand sitting desk?
Indeed.
Mhm.
Indeed.
Huh.
I know. Thanks, Lang, for hooking me
It's
up.
got
Because
all the things that he wants.
when I was looking for it, of course, I've bragged sometimes recently that I am proud that I've manipulated the algorithm online to give me gaming ads. So like game demos and lots of indie stuff. And it's awesome because even if there aren't games I'm gonna play, I'm gonna watch the video every time. I'm gonna hit like because I do get recommended a bunch of cool, fun, really small studio stuff, and I like that. But the second I started looking for gaming desks, boy, howdy, I haven't seen so many dang gaming desks on my screens in ever. I mean, it's just out of control. So I kept seeing a bunch of the same ones. They looked pretty good, but they were like half the price, but half the quality. Also, they checked like half the boxes. So yeah, so searching for the desk was kind of hard because finding what I actually needed was buried behind mountains of ads. It's like if you were to tell your computer that you're looking for a gaming chair, boy, I mean, how many ads for gaming chairs do you think you're about to get?
Well, your computer just heard you say gaming chair, so good luck.
Yep. I do need a new chair. Part of the armrest just fell off on both sides last week. I mean,
Aw.
the tops are okay, but the cushion wraps around the armrest, and the back bottom of it, where like if I lift myself up, that's where it takes all the stress. So it's just it's seen better days. So my desk was such a huge. It's been on my list for so long, basically all of last year, and I just put it off. So I just bought the dang thing. Now I just need to set it up. So I'm gonna have to do some rearranging, but I'm excited for it. And it cost a lot less. It costs like normally it was like 500 something, but it was 160 off. I don't remember what the total price was after tax and stuff, but it was significantly less than what I was expecting to pay, considering I thought that we were still in a world where any desk that has a stand sit function was going to be at least $1,000, and plenty of them still are. But I didn't know there were any exceptions until this time around. So I was really happy to see that the one that Lang linked is actually in my price range. So yeah, really happy about that. It's fucking heavy. Both of the pieces are so heavy that they got delivered by some person at FedEx who's probably not getting paid enough. And there's an elevator to our building that's like this. It's the smallest, slowest elevator you've ever seen, but it's like 3 feet away from where they deliver the packages. And I went downstairs and I tried to pick it up, and it's a cardboard, so there's nothing to grab onto. There are no holds in it. And so it was so heavy that I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to like flip it like an old, it's like if you had square wheels on something. Or I was like, okay, and I had to roll it into the elevator that way, and then take it to our floor. And I had to get Lizzie. I was like, I can't even drag this thing. It's so heavy and ungrabbable. I literally cannot do it myself, which is not something that happens to me very often. Like the
Yeah, 'cause
combination
aren't
of
you like, you know, a mover of sorts?
yeah,
Like,
I did. I had a movie job. I worked in construction, and I do stuff like that. I pick up big things all the time. And so yeah, when I grabbed it and I was like, this feels weird. Like I feel feeble right now because there's 0% chance I could take this to the room by myself. I do feel bad for that driver who brought it in. But yeah, so now it's up here being used as a really heavy, stable cardboard table. And I'm excited to hook it up. Maybe this weekend, we'll see. But yeah, that's the beginning of new upgrades for me here too. So eventually, I'm hoping by the end of the year, I can buy another CPU upgrade to match my video card upgrade I got a little while ago, and then get a third monitor. I've wanted a third monitor for so long, but without a desk to support it, there was no point in even trying. So yeah, so this opens up more opportunities for me. I am really excited about it. All right.
golf clap.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, I wasn't quick enough on the draw. Oh my gosh. Actually, you know what? I'm going to play this right now. Turn down your soundboards, you two, if you need to. In addition to the golf clap, Sid, we just added this yesterday. We were playing Played Up, and so I had to add it.
Oh yeah, Odie sent me a message about like I missed it because I was sleeping, but you had like a surprise in like VC or something, and I was like, oh no, I wonder what it was. Was it this?
It was them.
Okay, yay!
Beans, greens,
I see the
potatoes,
emoji, but
tomatoes.
unfortunately, I don't have my soundboard on because of a very infamous party invite community
Hey, you can unmute it.
oversaturation of.
You can unmute it. We took care of that problem. It was a real problem. We got it fixed. It's just like artificial intelligence. Nobody knows how to deal with it at first, but then we set up some regulations. Now we're back on track. Also, we permanently revoked one person's soundboard abilities. So yeah, you can unmute that soundboard because we got some good stuff, and it was a real hoot pulling that up, adding that while we were gaming the other day.
Good, because I want a signature entrance sound. And
Oh my
I'm
gosh, you can! Yeah, you can have that play every time you enter a voice channel. That's fun. Sid, how about you? What's good?
So, for my Bliss Nut, one thing I was really worried about this coming holiday season was the fact that, like, it'd be my first holiday season away from my mom ever in all my years of life, because she recently moved back to her hometown, which is across the country. And so I was like, "Well, this isn't gonna feel the same anymore." Like, it's not gonna be like the same old homey Christmas, that I'm used to having. And I was so happy to find out that I was wrong. It was so much fun. We made snowflakes, and we played Just Dance, and it was a lot of fun. And then the holidays, like afterwards for New Year's, we made like homemade wings. Just the other day, I had homemade pizza. Like it was the bomb. It was the blast. So the holidays
Nice.
were homemade and homey, and I still got to speak with my mom. I called her, and it was just the best. It was the best. I didn't even feel like I was apart, like from that homey family feeling, for the whole holiday season. So
Nice.
that's part of it. But the real big attraction is that today's my half birthday.
Oh!
Yeah. It's my half birthday, y'all. I'm 33 and a half, y'all. Oh, mm. So we celebrating. I got myself a can of Pepsi, and that's it. Because my budget ran out over the holidays already. So
Yeah, see if you can find a coupon.
refreshing.
Mm.
But yeah, so I'll be celebrating, I celebrate my first birthday, my half birthday, and once my birth month comes around, I celebrate that whole thing too. So gear up.
Oh my gosh, we're approaching Lizzie's birth month. She was just joking yesterday that when she was describing, I mean, we've talked about this before, when she was describing to someone all of her plans for the next several weeks, they're like, well, what about this time? And she's like, oh, that's the weekend before my birthday. And they're like, okay, well, what about this weekend? She goes, oh man, that's the weekend after my birthday. And they're like, okay, well, what about the weekend after that? She's like, oh man,
That's the next
actually, we're going to be
365
making up
days.
from the other weeks because it's still 2 weeks after my birthday. Like, oh my gosh. And then there's me
She gets
where
it.
like
She gets
I
it.
couldn't care less about my birthday.
Well, I mean, when someone like me is put on this planet, you have to celebrate at every occasion. So,
That's right.
well,
Treat
I'm gonna have to
yourself.
find a way to top last year's birthday though, because I think it was one of the best birthdays I've ever had because I got to see all of you.
Hey.
And they got Pokemon Conquest, which is like, oh, so good. And the Gay Dr. Gardevoir card. Oh my gosh, last year's birthday was so great.
The gay Dr. Gardevoir card?
Yeah, the Gay Dr. Gardevoir card. So it's a Pokemon trading card. Gosh, I
Okay,
had it
so
in
I
front of
did hear you right.
Yeah, no, you're right. I wish I had it in front of me, but it's depicting like a doctor, like a Pokemon doctor, and he's like at his computer, like, and it's all dim and stuff, and like kind of like my room looks like right now. And he's working on his computer, and there's a Gardevoir holding books, right? It's his partner Pokemon, not like that, but maybe.
But maybe.
And it's implied that there's some things going on. Anyway, you would assume that being a Gardevoir, it might be female because it's very feminine looking Pokemon, very majestic, very elegant. But nope, that one's male. And you know this because that NPC doctor appears in Sword and Shield, Pokemon Sword and Shield, as an opponent that you can fight. I think he's like in the desert area somewhere. And when he sends out his Gardevoir, it's male. And it's that very same doctor. So, gay Dr. Gardevoir card.
It's very cute.
Happy
It is
birthday
so
to you.
cute.
That's good. Vilas, what about you? If I'm not cutting you off, so
No, you're fine.
Sit.
Yeah.
Vilas, what's good?
As far as mine, it's quite a relief, and I'm sure I'll have some content on it very soon, actually, blog wise, maybe YouTube wise as well. But I'm relieved that my JRPG Gauntlet of 2023 is over.
Woo!
It
Now
is
you can
done.
That's
legally have fun. Oh man, you can
Yeah.
relax.
Well, for now, until the next one comes out.
I do have my new gauntlet for this year
Oh boy.
ready to go.
Here
the
we go.
the post isn't up yet, but it's coming again in the next couple days. This year it's Metroidvanias. All right. I already have like a very specific schedule that I know is going to be way less traumatizing.
Did you play Axiom Verge
but-
last year?
No, I finished Axiom Verge like 2 years ago or something like that.
Are you replaying it?
No, I need to play the second one.
I was about to say,
do
will you
have
play
the
the
second
sequel?
okay.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
yeah, it's on that list.
Axiom Verge, more verging.
Exactly.
The virgining.
But as that
It's the
makes it way
second one,
worse.
so it's by
Yeah.
virgin.
I see.
But I didn't get to tell you guys how bad the first week of January and or the last week of December was for the gauntlet. But I officially finished 11 JRPGs.
It,
I
in
made a
one
good
week.
run to get 12. Yeah.
W-
Uh, I completed Dragon Quest in one day, and then I finished the last like 10-ish hours of Final Fantasy 16 the next day. So it was a whole lot on the New Year's weekend.
I know that stress though. When the year before I was, my goal was to beat Spelunky by the end of the year, and I beat it with like hours on the clock. And I'm just like, at this point, I just have to beat it. Like, I don't care what else happens. I usually play to goof around. Oh, we're done goofing. The clock's
Yeah,
ticking.
way past goofing,
You're
like
like,
a long
we
way
are
past.
about to fight to find and kill God in this
And that's
JRPG.
literally every one of my games.
That's what JRPGs are. You
That's
start
right.
off with like, getting a potato from the garden and then you fight God. Like that's the hierarchy.
You
I'm
know?
I'm pretty sure it was like maybe 1 to 2 games on that list. You didn't fight a god, and that's still pushing it, I think. But the final one that I played was actually called Poison Control. A lot of people don't know about that one. Uh, I'll
I
Ooh.
I'll
don't know about
probably
them.
I'll probably talk about it on the next week maybe.
Was it sick?
But yes, it's actually a game that maybe Sid would like. Maybe it's very
Well, my
anime
theme of the
or
year was poison, so I'm already listening.
I mean, it's got. I'm not gonna say it's Splatoon gameplay, but it's got some similarities. It's a third person. It's technically a third person shooter JRPG because like 90% of the game is visual novel, and then you do some dungeon crawly stuff where you clean up poison, and cleaning up the poison is killing enemies as well as doing this weird sliding across the poison areas and junk. It's
Isn't that the
interesting.
game The Gunk?
And it has similarities to the gunk, but the gunk is unfortunately way way better.
It's so
Oh
But
similar
yeah,
to
no,
say the gunk.
The Gunk.
yes,
Oh, you
but
got
yeah,
the
it
gunk.
was
You need to get out of here with that gunk.
Oh,
the gauntlet was a huge experience, and it didn't end the way I wanted it to, but I certainly caught up despite a lot of hurdles throughout 2023. So I'm relieved and happy to move on.
hell yeah. Well, high five for completing that goal. You're a stronger, more focused gamer than me. I can't even
And you're
finish
the god
games.
killer.
Yeah, the God Killer. I can't even finish games that are over 20 hours long. So the idea of tackling even one of those big games in your list is just unrealistic. Is for me. It just wouldn't happen. But hell yeah, man! Like it was cool. It was cool to see you, kind of ride in waves throughout the last year of being like, all right, I'm knocking him out. I'm knocking him out. Okay, I'm knocked out. I'm tapped out. I'm waiting. I'm not playing any of these for a
Yeah,
while, and then you're back on it, and you're burning hot, and you're playing again. So it's fun to see. It's fun to see. How you're um how you reset goal last year, because I know you were especially like we've got a couple pretty active JRPGers in our community, and I know you like to spend some time over in the Demo Duo Discord. They're always supportive of the JRPG conversation. So it's fun to see you guys. Like Final Fantasy 14 was popular this year or last year, I guess. Uh, as an aside, Monster Hunter World, yeah, seems like it's
Yeah, I was
blowing up
about to
right now.
say, the community is really getting started on another JRPG, which is Monster Hunter World, and I wish I could join. I'm getting the FOMO so bad.
I mean, how
I
much
don't
does
have
that
the game
game
though.
cost?
I think it's still full price, isn't it?
I didn't look because I'm not gonna play. I
I
hope
didn't
to
look
watch you
because I
guys,
didn't
but
wanna buy
I was pretty
it.
sure it's on
you're like,
sale
I
right
can't
now, and
afford
that was
it. How
half
much
of
is
the
it?
I
idea.
have
Yeah.
Rise. I already have Rise. I was like, "Is it on free?" Look, I'll play Wild Hearts. That's on Game Pass. I'll play Wild Hearts if anybody sets it up. Listen,
Aditya says it's $30 right now, so there's our answer. So,
it's my half birthday. Yeah.
oh goodness. Well, I'm excited to look forward to your new journey this year, Vilos. You're nothing if not ambitious, you know. So, uh, Of
Yeah, that's
the
true.
without you getting into your list specifically, how much of the list that you have in your head do you already own, and how much do you have to, are you going to wait to go on sale? Like, because some games you're not going to get to till the end of the year, so you can wish list them and just wait for, save 30% on
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, as of right now, because I have a full list of games that have to, and then games that are really close, and then of course there's a lot of newly released games that are going to be on there too. I think three maximum 4 games out of the 12 that I want to complete in 2024 are out there, and it's one that's been out for a couple of years. There's Prince of Persia. Obviously, that comes out in like a little bit over a week, so reviews are
A
starting
free
to come out
demo
of
is
that one.
available right now.
So
Oh, that's what I
yeah,
was going to ask.
and then like Leica is the other one. We already know all about Leica, and then there's one more I believe that's coming out later this year. But otherwise, yeah, most of them I've secured already because I made a point of that during the holidays.
Hell yeah. If you felt like streaming Leica in the Discord sometime, I would watch you play that whole game. Uh,
Oh yeah,
I
so fun.
still listen to that. Maybe I don't listen to that soundtrack specifically, but that artist who makes a bunch of soundtracks for Raw Fury, right? Raw Fury.
Yeah,
It's published by Raw Fury, but I think it's whoever the
Head Up
developer.
Head Up Games is the developer. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's them. That artist. She's really talented, and I've been listening to a bunch of her stuff. So, hell yeah. Okay, well, enough smiling, as I always say. Yeah, all right. We got the optimistic stuff behind us. Now we're grumpy for the rest of the show. No, just
And
kidding.
yeah,
Yeah, the
Good.
whole year we're predicting that we will be grumpy for the next roughly 11 and a half months. So this year, we're looking ahead to the gaming trends of 2024 that we think will happen. Not just things that we hope will happen, but the things that we realistically think that we will see in 2024. We've all got different things to talk about, and for different reasons. Excuse me. But we'd love to hear your suggestions as well. What is stuff that in gaming at large, whether that's maybe this game gets an unexpected sequel, maybe this studio folds. That's not very happy. But the way that labor's been going the past year with Embracer Group and stuff, get your bingo card because we don't even know who's going to survive the year. But there's other stuff going on in the industry, big and small, and there are lots of different places you can look. I mean, I don't have my finger on the pulse personally like I used to. I don't consume as much gaming news as I used to, but actually one of my resolutions this year is to actually read more games journalism articles, like real stuff, and not just clickbait. Like I have a couple publications I follow, but not because they're quality, but because I want to see uh like what works for them. Like why does one article get clicks big time and another doesn't? Especially because I like to read the comments, because I hear from a lot of people that the only things they have to say are how grumpy they are about microtransactions and unfinished games and DLC, but also they don't play any games except for Call of Duty. So uh you know that allows me to get a little more insight on other parts of the industry. But yeah, my one of my goals is to do more actual reading this year, so I can have a better idea of what's going on. Because there are a lot of talented writers that are doing great work that get bashed on. Like, I genuinely get pretty grumpy that people rage on IGN all the time. I simply don't understand it. I think no one ever gives them their flowers when they do lots of good work. They only complain when a game gets a 6 instead of an 8. And whatever. But I'm getting off topic here. I'm going to read more, and if you have things to recommend to me, please send them my way. But I can start with mine, or Vilos or Sid. If you guys are chomping at the bit here, we've all got different stuff to talk about, so we should probably go one at a time if we're going to keep it focused. You know what, Vilos? Let's just start with you. That's all right.
Yeah. My first one kind of segues into what you're getting into as well. Anyway, so for me, my first one, my biggest one, is that 2024 will precipitate a rise in the what we know as the traditional IP games, the olden times movie tie-ins. And I say that because a lot of people have forgotten how it was, but way back in the 360 and PS3 days, oh my god, you
Oh,
could not
Lord.
go anywhere without running into, a Transformers game or what have you, just, absolute BS, or Hannah Montana during the DS days was literally the best seller
Hell yeah.
for years. All of these things, I mean, the Sweet Life of Zack and Cody had games, like, what? But yeah,
I
early
mean,
2000s
obviously,
was
Well, I
huge.
when
don't
you
think this
watch
counts
that
as
show,
like a TV one, but like Doritos and Burger King, they had like the 360 games.
yeah, they did. Those were great.
Yeah, Sneak King,
Yeah,
yeah, that
Sneak
was
King.
Sneak King, and
the
then I think Doritos had like I think it was a Wipeout game, which actually was a lot of fun, and I put some time in on that.
I didn't play that one, but I could see that one being good.
There was a
But
Flight
it's
Fight Club game on the PS2. I just Googled
yes.
Oh,
worst
we don't talk
movie
about that.
games. And this article on PCMag.com is the 10 worst movie tie-in games ever. I'm not going to read all of them. The first one on this is E.T., the famous cartridge
One,
for
yeah.
the Atari 2600.
The one that has, like, 250,000 literally buried in New Mexico, yeah.
Are they
Yep.
still even there, or have they dematerialized by now? Like,
I mean, plastic lasts a really long time. Plastic's pretty
Yeah.
bad. So, and the
yeah.
other parts
And
are
that's like
metal.
old timey plastic too, like the same type that Nokia plastic is made of. So like,
It's probably yellowed a lot, but
ew,
it's probably still there.
ew.
Yeah, but I didn't know Fight Club had a game. Charlie's Angels is on here. Highlander?
Okay, I'm not aware of a Highlander game, but I
There must
guess
be only one
I
copy
feel like
then.
a Super NES maybe, or an NES,
Let's
but
find out. Well, you keep talking, and I'll come up with
yeah, yeah.
terrible trivia here for you.
But there's been a lull over the past few years, and the Switch has obviously sold enough to get that casual market back in, just like the Wii did. The Wii had a ton of those games, but there was a lull, and it's starting to build, and it's getting
Lol.
bigger. And I think this year it's yeah, I think this year is where it culminates in just absolute garbage that we see way more often than we'd like. I mean, we for example, what Demo Do has gotten to play. There's some good ones, right? There's some good ones, but there's still the Baby Sharks, the Blueies of the world, the horse games, the
You leave
Barbie
Bluey
games
alone.
that are
How dare
coming.
you?
Bluey was bugged. Bluey had problems.
Bluey was itself. That was so funny. But there are those games just coming out of nowhere. They're coming back, and it's a little scary. But obviously, as people that play indie games and really love that, we're not really too affected. But at the same time, that's where a lot of the money is because of how these studios, how the communications conglomerates, how the streamers are all not only getting rid of a shit ton of people, but they're pushing teams together that maybe shouldn't be. They're pushing people together to focus on very few and very particular IPs now. If something's not a guarantee, it's almost not going to get made. Like the EA originals, like the Immortals of Avium, things like that are like these big money studios are just stopping those like outright
Yeah,
right
which
now.
seems like a shame. That the Immortals of Avium game seems like
Yeah.
it just came out at a bad time because looking at that, it's like, wow, look, this is actually a quality AAA game in this weird fantasy magic, but kind of realistic world.
Hmm.
I say weird. I don't mean that in a bad way or anything. But that's a particular type of game that I get mixed up with lots of other ones like it because lots of bad versions of that, boring, uninspired versions of that come out all the time. But that game actually seemed all right. It just didn't pan out. And so when big studios look at that and they're like, well, what did we do wrong here? We just had too much competition. Seems like the answer, you know?
It's like the same thing that
Yeah.
happened with Battleborn, that like MOBA like game that came out at the same time that Overwatch did. And
Mhm.
I think actually it launched at the same time that the Overwatch like beta did. So like Overwatch is like 2 weeks of like before pre-release or something or whatever it was. And it just got beat out. And it's such a shame because Battleborn was such a fun game. It was so much fun. And I constantly lament the fact that we lost it. And I hope someday they'll bring it back like they're trying to do, I think, what's it called? Dragon Scale? Dragon Bound? That one that got canceled because of like
Oh, Scalebound.
Scalebound. Yeah.
Scalebound. I was so close.
Hey, it takes a village.
But I mean, the funnier part of this conversation to me also is that we can say that a game is a failure, but guess what? The what is it? Rise of Kong, the shitty Kong game that came
Oh
out 2
god.
months ago. A game like that, as long as it has a physical edition, which Gollum also has a physical edition coming
Good.
to Switch, people will make those successes financially for some of these companies. Gollum coming onto Switch will sell. It will get scalped and it will sell. It will have third-party sellers in a stupid
Scalped?
Because
Do
it's
you
so
really
tizzy.
good.
think so?
Yeah, like
Well, it's me more than you can definitely get content out of it, but, like
Yeah.
I mean
I mean, there was
I
the Moria game, Return to Moria, which
that one came out of nowhere and like everybody forgot it existed, but it was
I never knew it existed.
yeah,
well,
the
yeah,
Mines of
yeah,
Moria.
it's kind of a tricky thing. I think people thought that it was, it came out like not long after Gollum, so it was like, poor
Mhm.
guys, they made this game and everybody's laughing at
Trashing Lord of the
yeah,
Rings games.
yeah. So and Deadpool played that game and he seemed to think that there was stuff to enjoy about it, but then when I talked to other people, they're just like, this is terrible, just total. I think IGN even gave it like a 4 or a 5 or something. It
Which
was
undoubtedly brought them a lot of ire.
yeah. Well, so it's unfortunate because like it seems like that game wasn't that bad. Well, it's I didn't play it, but it seems like it may have gotten a worse rap because of the Gollum game, which like has nothing to do with the Return to Moria game, but they're both from the same IP, and it raises these flags of like, why the hell are they licensing out this huge IP to studios that just are they're not performing at all. I mean, it just didn't
Mhm.
pan out at all. So like the fact that that even made it to the market where other things this is a games thing and this is a whole separate conversation, but the movies that WB made and then canned for a tax write-off, the
Oh,
Batwoman.
the Wile E. Coyote one?
Yep.
But that one actually got reinstated to, like, come out, though. But still, yeah,
It
you're
did, but there's a whole lot of
Yeah.
stuff but and there are legal ramifications of how legal that was for them to have done that. Which I think it's a really interesting thing to read about if you want to go look it up. But those are the things were huge, had tons of money pumped into them, had good pre-screening reviews or screening reviews, and then were hidden away. They're basically destroyed. I mean, for some of them, they were literally destroyed. But then the complete opposite with these games, where it's like, how could this have gone so poorly, and then you still released it? You know, I don't know how any of the money works behind that stuff, but like, I mean, Gollum did so bad. How is it? I mean, they had to make some money, I guess. I don't know, but it was so bad, and it destroyed. I mean, Daedalic Entertainment, who's made games that I like, they've made Barotrauma, Unrailed, a handful of
I mean,
others.
there's a lot of people that love the Deponia series, and that's like 5 games in, so yeah.
Yeah, they do stuff, but that was their first. That was one of their first forays into development, and that was the end of it. They were like, "Yep, we're not making any more games. We're only publishing." It's like, man, that's a real shame. That's actually sad.
yeah.
Uh, but yeah. So Vilos, you think that this trend is gonna the pendulum swing is gonna come back and we're gonna see more of these bad ones? So basically more of the Golems and Kongs and Return to Moria that we saw last year?
Yeah, and
Well,
I'm not even necessarily saying they're all gonna be bad. I'm just
Yeah.
saying I think they're gonna proliferate in a wild way because they are still seeing financial successes because even though we don't have all the full numbers, uh, like I said, the physical editions of Switch games are mind-boggling how sales are still. It's the one thing that is skewing numbers because I think the number came out at the end of 2023 of something like digital sales of games are by far the number one now, but it's like better than 60/40, and most of the physical sales are for Nintendo.
Oh,
And so when something does hit Switch and it's got that aura already, even if it's something we all know is shit, it's gonna sell.
yep. It's got
And
that shine to it.
that's one of the things that resellers
that
are doing.
polished poo shine.
The yeah, the level of reselling that is out there right now, our economy is like 60% resellers in gaming. I'm not even kidding. And I think we're just gonna see a whole lot of that. But there are some successes like the Avatar game.
Mhm.
People actually have really enjoyed it, and there's more movies coming. There are more games in the series coming. I think that enough of the right properties are being used, and things like I forget the full details, but when the company that made the old Transformers, like the War of Cybertron
Oh my
games,
god, that game was so
when they
good.
got called out last year,
Oh no.
when the companies got called out because um, there was the Activision bullshit back and forth of, yeah, well, since they switched hands so many times, I don't know that there are even copies of the game files anymore. And then like a couple weeks go by and they go, yes, we still have the games. Like, chill out, everybody. We still have the games. Don't worry about it. and I think a lot of these companies that are doing all this merging and doing all this staffing layoffs and everything, they're going back into those coffers. They're going, listen, this 20-year-old thing, you don't have to do shit with it. Just put it on the Switch. That's the decision making that they're doing right now. And I think with the more opportunities that they're seeing, these companies are going to continue doing that. So even if it's remakes of the 20-year-old versions of these IP games, it's coming. More of it's coming.
Godzilla game win.
Honestly, yes.
I need like 20 Godzilla games. I don't even care if it's the old ones. The GameCube
Who
ones were
cares?
awesome. Like,
Oh man,
yeah,
I gotta see if I can catch. I gotta see if there's a theater around here that still has Godzilla minus
-1.
one. Yeah.
One is
The
so
black and white version
good.
is coming, so you might be able to hit that. So
Oh,
Ooh.
black and white version?
I think the black and white's this weekend in Japan. I don't
Oh,
know when it's
sick.
coming for us,
Oh
but
Oh,
my
I hope
gosh.
it's not Japan only because that sounds like something they would definitely do.
yeah.
I watched. I mean, I don't know if this was an official release, but through channels and stuff, I watched the black and white version of Logan. That was the first
Mhm.
version of that movie I ever watched, and it was awesome. I recommend
Yeah.
anybody who likes that movie, or if you haven't seen it, the Wolverine movie Logan, to go watch that in black and white. It was really great. Um, it's still good in color, but there's really something special about the whole vibe of that movie. For the same reason that a movie like Mad Max, which is bright and colorful and great, would also be very good in black and white. And there are a couple scenes even in Fury Road that are kind of in black and white.
Well, they
Sort of.
did do a full black and white release of that one.
Oh, they did, didn't they?
I don't remember if it's on streaming or not. I think it might be on HBO Max though.
Then I forgot that existed when I was saying that. So
But yes,
it must
watch
have
black
just
and white
been
movies
nested
that
in
are
my
really good.
head, waiting to sprout.
Uh,
That I need to go
but
do that.
that said, I was going to mention real quick that we didn't even go over the like Netflix of how things are moving there. People are actually seeing the successes of Netflix's streaming games, and I think there were rumblings of Warner Brothers doing some stuff with their apps, but they've got to consolidate 20 million apps before they do that. So
Right,
Wow.
right.
Well, if Netflix is being successful doing games now, then I mean, GameFly, which is still operational, by the way, is in trouble because that's all they do.
Is 2024 the year that GameFly bounces back? Are they finally like, hey, you guys like physical stuff, and we've been here the whole time. We're coming back, baby.
I mean, they sell discs for like 20% of the price of the OG price, and sometimes you actually have cases now. So
That's kind of cool.
they're still making enough money, I think.
If I had a disk drive on my computer, I might get some PC games on disc. Do they even make PC games on disc anymore?
Rarely, but yeah.
Because obviously, like you can buy a PS5 game on disc, but
I mean, Cyberpunk was on disc. I don't
really,
remember the latest that I can remember though.
Wasn't
I
that like
know
a special
Cyberpunk was.
edition though, or
I mean, Cyberpunk was. I've got Ghostwire Tokyo on a CD. Like,
lol. Well, yeah. I mean, I hope that stuff changes in a positive way because having these Netflix games, having Into the Breach, especially on my phone, because I'm already paying for a subscription. Like the fact that it's just bundled in there is great. Of course, the subscriptions are always changing to, like right now, everything's in that pendulum swing where the services are like, hey, if you want to keep paying the same amount, that's great. We're just gonna add some ads. That no big deal. To I think Hulu and something else. So eventually it'll be like, hey, or like Spotify. Spotify's doing stuff with audiobooks, and every once in a while they'll try to expand, and then they're like, hey, we're sending out a survey. Would you be willing to pay more? And I'm like, I'd be willing to pay more if you paid your artists, you know?
But what if you get one book that you don't actually want in the mail?
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Mm.
Hell yeah. It's got no DRM on it. Uh,
Ooh.
am I saying that right? I've been playing Halo, so the DMR is in my head. Okay. Well, so we're gonna see more video games. I want to see that Godzilla movie before the end of the year. All right,
Yes.
make that happen. Um, you've got something else on here though that I don't think you've mentioned.
No, I mean, I figured we'd go to another one real
Okay,
quick.
then I'll move on to mine. I'm happy to do that. Okay, so talking about contracts and these big corporations, we've brought up Warner Brothers a few times. Um, I so in my personal life, my I'm in a union. I'm in a newly formed union for the job I work at, and it's good for a bunch of reasons. The company I work for is still pretty bad. They don't know what they're doing, but because I have collective bargaining in the union, there are certain things that are demonstrably better in my work life than they would be if we weren't unionized. Um, Last year, let's see, there's an NPR article I listened to a while ago that I referenced for research on this, that it said over 500,000 workers across all industries in the United States went on strike in 2023. Over 500,000. That's a lot of people. That's a whole lot of people. And then in the video game industry, specifically, over 6,000 workers were laid off across all sorts of companies. So that can be a game development company, that could be at Twitch, that could even be in other like gaming adjacent things like hardware production. But over 6,000 workers, that's a lot of workers. And it just keeps coming. We've got a thread in our Discord where we share each time we see new stuff come up of labor wins and layoffs. And it just, there's no end in sight in that. To work in the tech sector of any kind right now is pretty dicey. A lot of people worried about their jobs. The world's still changing post COVID, trying to figure out, what is the cost of labor? Can people work from home? Do people need to commute at all? What is office culture? Does it matter? A lot of those things. And in that conversation is pay and the value of your everyday worker. So last year across non-gaming, we saw historic wins in the labor movement in all sorts of different ways. Every union is different. That's why bargaining for contracts is so complicated, because you can't just make a big broad statement, because even if you're working at a big company, if you're working at one of the the big four, one of the big auto worker, like Ford and all them, a contract that works for this factory in this state is not going to be the same contract that you want to have over here in this state. They have different needs, so you need to negotiate for a different contract. So this stuff's very complicated, but people go on strike in solidarity with others in their company, or sometimes others across their union. So like my union is a part of Teamsters, and Teamsters is who was running the labor strike at UAW, the United Auto Workers Union. And so we kind of hear that stuff through the grapevine, but some companies that are in the same sector, some workers in other unions will actually strike in solidarity, even though they don't even work at the company that's going on strike. Anyway, so here's a lot of information on unions. I've learned so much since I became a part of one, but something I've just noticed over this past year is, especially with layoffs in the games industry, if you don't fight for every little bit of your contract, you'll lose it, because a company wants to make as much profit as they can, and cutting costs is a huge part of that. Twitch is set to lay off 35% of its labor force in the next couple weeks. 35%. It's like 500 employees. That a third of the company. That's a huge company to have a third of your labor just disappear. When there was trouble at Bungie, once the trouble started, morale plummeted and people were just quitting left and right. Tons of people lost their jobs and all this stuff. Anyway, you can't prevent all problems in a company through collective bargaining, but you sure can improve a hell of a lot. And one of those things that, besides all of the things that I mentioned so far, one of those things that has been a huge thing, conversation in all of 2023 is AI, is generative AI, and what is its role in anything. And we haven't figured it out. There's definitely room for ethical AI, but in a lot of cases, we haven't found it because the people who can use it can currently get away with doing pretty much whatever they want because there isn't legal infrastructure. There isn't anything to say what is and isn't possible. Not the same thing, but look at what happened with NFTs. It was largely unregulated. People didn't really understand what it was. Now NFTs are worthless. AI is a similar thing where everyone's like, I don't know what this is. No one knows what it is. And since everyone cannot agree what this thing is, it's hard to have a constructive conversation about it. Because if you're not, it's hard to try to discuss a complex idea when no one's working with the same information. So what does all this mean? I think that this year we're going to see some really serious labor, unionizing across the games industry. The labor movement has never been stronger, especially in the private sector where it's famously been weak. Usually the public sector, working for the government, for example, is where unions have always been strongest. But the past 12 months, 18 months have shown that the private sector is a place where collective bargaining can really thrive as well. For those of you who are still listening, who aren't, nearly as interested in this as I am, the point is that with AI, we just saw SAG-AFTRA and the Writers Guild of America go on strike for a long time last year. It's still impacting the entertainment industry, and it will for quite a while. But they got historic wins. They have things in their contract that they've wanted for years that they didn't expect to get. So did a lot of other non-gaming places. But I think we'll see a lot more unionization in a really serious way this year. I hope we do. I sure hope we do. But when I was doing my research, I actually saw that just yesterday this article was published. I don't remember what CES stands for. Is that Consumer Entertainment?
Yeah.
Show.
Consumer Entertainment Show? Is that right? Computer entertainment?
Consumer, yeah.
Well, I should have looked it up. But CES 2024 in Las Vegas just happened, and SAG-AFTRA announced a deal with, I wrote it down here, with Replica Studios, which is a studio that makes AI replications of voices. So they struck a deal with this studio that sets out guidelines for what is and isn't legal, essentially, or allowed in their contract for voice actors that work with that studio. So that's only one studio, but it sets a template. Of course, I didn't know this until today when I was trying to find more research for this. But I was going to say I think we'd see the first set of legislation and like a standard to move forward with how we're going to face AI in the games industry. Turns out that just happened. We're right at the beginning of the year, and we just saw the groundwork get laid for this. So, not much of a prediction.
I hope we get more, because the crime of what we saw on the CES show floor. Have you seen this?
Mm-mm.
They had an AI Mario in a holographic booth or whatever. And when I tell you that thing, I don't use this term ever, was nightmare fuel.
It's really funny.
It is so funny, but there's no way that Nintendo had any hand in it at all.
They don't like to have their image messed up in the slightest.
Well,
and
yeah.
it's
So
literally
how did
shocking
they
thing.
sneak this in there? How in that same booth, there's this AARP lady apparently, and the AARP lady, this old lady, she asks you to ask Mario. So she calls him by name, so they know what they're doing. She asks him to ask Mario about how to buy games because I'm an old lady. I don't know about the video games and the duck hunts and the Pikachus. So visitors are prompted to ask Mario, and then when they do, he directs them very AI-ly to Target.
That's a new word.
It's in the Soptionary, of course. Well, the Dictionary now, I guess. But yeah, so he's like, literally, he's like, oh yeah, you must go to Target, and like, like that's what he
Oh
sounds like.
no.
It's like the most vanilla accent that you can have, and still like have the
I
text to
can't,
speech thing
Dude,
going.
I
so
can't believe I'm saying this, but even Crisp Rats like joke Instagram post about his like when he was very first announced as a thing, and he was just like, "It's a me, Mario." Like even that is better than the AI. Whatever. That's not intelligence. That's artificial stupidity. That's just crazy.
that
Like,
is wild. Okay, well, first off, yes, it is the Consumer Electronics Show, lol. But yeah, Kotaku confirmed that Nintendo was not involved in this at all. How? Do-
so wow. If there's one people on this planet that you don't want to upset, it's Nintendo lawyers.
They'll get you.
They'll
They'll
they're
get
gonna
you.
shut down that company.
Dude, Valve shut down a remake, well, a demake really, of Portal 2. Not because they, well, based on the article I read, not based on the fact that it uses Valve's IP, but because the game is intended to be a Nintendo 64 version of Portal. It relies on Nintendo's the NES's proprietary library. Is it what they said? And because it pulls from that to create its sprites and units and stuff, that's why they were like, you have to take it down because you can't, those aren't yours to use. So it
Valve
really
has
comes
been
back.
on one lately then.
Say that again.
I said Valve's really been on one lately then, because they just shut down a Source 2 version of Team Fortress 2.
Mm-hmm.
They DMCA'd it. And
Yeah.
which is so weird because Valve is usually like all about mods and whatnot. Like they're so mod friendly. So it's so uncharacteristic for them to come down on this mod like this. And this is just after people are starting to re-upcry for Team Fortress 2 to be saved, because there's a whole crisis there that I'm not even going to talk about. That's a whole different conversation. But like it's weird how this is happening. And I wonder if it's a sign of like, I don't know, Valve's end days or something. We're not getting Half-Life 3. They hate the number 3. So we already
I
know
mean,
that.
They do.
they legit greenlit a fan portal to actually be an official Portal sequel. So
Oh, the prequel to Portal 2?
yeah,
I saw that.
yeah, it's official.
Wait,
Wow.
So
wait, say that again.
it's a. I still don't understand exactly because I didn't play Portal 2, but you have to have Portal 2, but it's a mod of Portal 2 that is a prequel to the game.
Are you
But it's
sure?
So
a fan.
Are
what
you
I'm
sure we're
what
not
I'm
talking
hearing is
about the
that
same one? Because I think that's the demake. Unless they're two different ones.
No, no,
no.
this is two different ones because this was an actual approved game that Valve
And it
Interesting.
themselves was
has
like, no, this is good.
modern graphics, doesn't it? So
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll have to look that up because I want to know more.
I mean, obviously the industry is freaking wild right now.
yeah,
Right.
what is going on?
Portal movie win.
Honestly,
We need a
yes.
Portal movie so that we can get a game for the Portal movie. Okay. Make it a Ratchet
Yeah,
and Clank situation. Make which comes first? Is the movie based off of the game or is the game based off the movie? These are the questions.
It's a movie game based off of the movie based off of a game.
Hell yeah.
That's like a Haunted Mansion situation right now.
Greenlit.
I can't even.
Well, cool. So I think we'll see some more of these. Of course, I hope we see these things. But based on the strength of the labor movement right now, and just the onslaught of layoffs across tech and across gaming, I don't see how in the next 12 months, that's a long time. I don't see how this is avoidable. I don't see how there's any other way where we don't see more constructive, valuable ground made on AI. One thing that the deal that I mentioned that SAG-AFTRA struck with Replica Studios is that it doesn't cover. So it covers a lot of things. It covers, you have to pay and get consent from an actor before you use their voice. You have to pay them over time, and if a certain amount of time passes and you still want to keep using it, you have to pay them again, which was similar to SAG-AFTRA's negotiations with streaming royalties, because basically writers who wrote for hit TV shows that are still playing in a zillion watches on Netflix were making 7 cents, when they get written a check, because those royalties just weren't involved in a meaningful way in the conversation of streaming. Anyway, one thing that this didn't include is LLMs, large language models, which are what we think of when we think of Chat GPT, where or the other, like when people steal art and make AI art, uh, those people, those artists that were trained or that the AI trained on, those people weren't paid. They're not credited. That's definitely what I would call theft. And I don't see how this is such a difficult position for a lot of people to understand. But you should pay people when you use their work, and that's all there is to it.
Wow,
The
that's good.
same, wild. The same here is that this big contract, this blanket contract, doesn't cover the use of large language models, so it doesn't protect actors from having their voices trained on yet. But they seem optimistic that those contracts will be negotiated in a less blanket way. So like, it's like the equivalent of making a federal law versus a state law or a local law. This is more of like the federal, the high level that says, hey, there might be a little more nuance here. And when you guys figure out what you want to do moving forward, this is the first thing that you want to look at. So I'm interested to see how all this large language model stuff goes, because how long is it going to be until every voice actor who's in Skyrim that voices 20 different NPCs will just be an AI voice that we hear in all sorts of games that don't want to pay real actors to record, a zillion lines. I mean, imagine a Baldur's Gate 3 where there are so many, 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 many tens of thousands of lines in that game from all sorts of different actors. I mean, imagine if that was all AI. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. If there's quality and people are getting paid, then fine. AI is not inherently bad. It's only bad when it exploits people. So I'm interested to see where this can go in a positive way, because I think this time next year we'll be having a discussion about how cool it is that AI can be used in certain ways in gaming, rather than right now where it's the specter that's either ripping people off, or like in the finals apparently use some AI voice lines that I haven't really noticed, so I don't have a
I was actually gonna touch on that because this
thing.
contract that you were just talking about, is it's that's kind of where the finals is right now. They actually used voice actors and they trained actors, they trained the AI on their actors' voices and stuff, and then AI use that AI trained voice acting in the game. And that's why initially it sounds so natural, is because it is, it's actual voice acting trained AI. And in the news update that just came out, or actually as of the holiday update, I don't know if there's a new one since I played last, but the holiday update added some new lines and stuff, and you can tell there's a difference um, in the between the initial recorded like training lines and then like the trained AI by itself. You can tell it's a very slight difference, but it's still there. So I think there's a spectrum at which, if we're imagining AI taking over video game acting, which I hope it doesn't, um, or voice acting like in anime and TV shows or things like that, I hope it doesn't do that. But if we're imagining a world where that's happening, I think it can be on like on a spectrum where that happens in the finals, where we get, like, naturally sounding trained AI, or Nightmare Abomination, cursed, should never see the light of day Mario,
Cursed Entertainment
AI.
Expo is what that is. Hell yeah. Okay, well that's pretty much all I had to say on that. But it's fun to think about, and it is something for those who would like to keep up. I'll put a link to that labor and layoffs thread in our Discord, because I'm going to be following that this whole year. I'm very interested in how all that stuff plays out. Well, Sid, let's bounce over to you
Yeah.
completely now.
So, I mean, Valos was talking about tie-ins, which is, stuff tying in together, and then you were talking about unions, which is, people coming together and working together, and I am gonna talk about how genres have been fusing together recently. So we got a whole theme going on, y'all.
Oh, wait, hold on. So we have tie-ins, unions, and fusions. Huh?
Ooh.
Huh?
Oh my. Yeah, so basically what I think, and we've kind of seen some games kind of dabble in this, I think we're gonna see a lot more genre fusion. So games that immediately come to mind are games like Knockout City, which fuses, FPS, well, TPS and dodgeball. There was Battle Royale, which was a MOBA, like a MOBA Royale kind of game, that fused the mechanics of League of Legends movement and cooldowns and abilities with a shrinking Battle Royale like arena. So I think that we're done. I mean, Vilos, I think, has a point with like the tie-ins and everything. Because I mean, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is coming out soon. I think it's in 2 weeks actually. They just lifted the NDA on that. So if you want some, or is it 2 weeks? It's February 2nd or something. I don't know.
That's
But
almost a month.
there's a 2. Okay. But they just lifted the NDA on that, so people can now start talking about their experiences over the alpha. So Vilos, if you want to offer your stuff in a blog later, I would love to see that. But we're gonna see more tie-ins and stuff, but I think we're done with like sequel parades, right? I don't think we're gonna get Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, the Warfaring Boogaloo 2 3 2024, the remake sequel edition Arcade Alpha X. I mean, we probably still are because it's called
They're like,
Infinity Ward
hey, we
may
learned
disagree.
how to make new titles when we made the same title 3 freaking times.
and
Like,
it's so confusing, especially for parents.
You know, I saw an
Shouldn't
article.
be buying games for that game for their children anyway, but that's neither here nor
Yeah,
there.
that's a. I saw a headline. Didn't read the article. But it said Call of Duty is officially too big to fail, which I would agree with. That it's an institution. It's like Madden. It's all those things. It's that people are gonna buy the next one, no matter what. Well, whatever. So I don't know why I brought this up because I'm getting off topic here. But the idea that Call of Duty might not make a sequel to me is like, but what if they did? Because no one cares. They're just gonna buy it. You know. I say no one. I don't know. I don't play Call of Duty. But
Well, if you do, it's a lifelong investment apparently, because they're
goodness.
just gonna keep releasing one every 2 years, maybe. I don't know, but Call of Duty aside, that's a major franchise that's probably never going to die, like you said, like Madden. Sequel parades, they used to be everywhere, and honestly, I don't really see a lot of them anymore, except for like story sequels, so like Spider-Man 2, right? Um, I think we're kind of done with that. I think we're getting over that. And I think as people are starting to come up with more quote unquote original ideas, we're going to be seeing a lot more fusions of people trying to like pick up the pieces of other genres and fuse them together into something new and refreshing. And I don't mean that to say like, oh, they can't come up with their own original idea, so they have to like, blah 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 merge. No, I think it's good because isn't like what's the idiom? I can't remember. It's like scarcity breeds productivity or something like that, or something like
Innovation.
that. Innovation, thank you. So I think that applies here. And we're starting to get a lot of really cool games that I've been talking about on here and playing on stream. So Bap Bap and Battle Crush and Project Faye, Friends for Everyone, yeah. The best name ever, right, Violet?
Friends for everyone.
Are a couple
Yeah.
more of those mobile royales that I was talking about. So you got your isometric top-down view with the cooldowns and the abilities of the legends, and then you have the shrinking arena and stuff. So that's becoming more prominent now, and I think we'll see probably even more of those. I think there's one I didn't mention was Project Loki, which has been around since even before Bap Bap, I think. So there's that one. I think that's going to be like the next major one because everybody loves MOBAs. Everybody loves heroes and champions and looking cool and being the best, number one ranked
Right.
chica. I don't know, whatever. Like, like that's all you see in like a headline. But
MOBAs are so ripe for world building, for franchising. Like look at all the stuff League of Legends is doing. They've got a bunch of different modes, a bunch of different games. They've even got TV shows now about that game because, like you said, people love heroes. Overwatch, despite the problems it has a cool lineup of recognizable characters. Occasionally a new game mode every once in a while. I mean, even Apex, has their wild stuff. Even if I queue up to play the limited time mode that's 50 versus 50, and I'm like, wow, that's amazing. And after sitting in queue for 15 minutes, I never did get a chance to play it. Just there's too many players. There's not enough people. Anyway, I just wanted to be grumpy about that for a second.
at least you could pay $300 to have the Buster Sword.
$360 for the Final Fantasy. Oh my god, it's insane. But I don't understand why people are upset about that. That seems like a reasonable amount of money to charge.
Like a reasonable amount. I mean, the Buster Sword.
hey,
Like,
that's like less than half of the amount of money that it costs for the Jaco Pose Tifa. I mean, and that's a statue. So
wait,
sword,
wait.
yes. Oh no,
I might
that's
need
a
that.
Discord thing. That's
Is that real?
Yes.
I might
I'll get you
actually need that.
there.
It's my half birthday.
Prediction: Sid has one of those statues by the end of the year. Let's make it happen.
I mean, I already have my
Oh,
Sophia
man.
one in the back. You can see here. It's not doing the Jacko pose, but I mean, She comes equipped with all armor. So
Accoutrements. Yeah.
accoutrements, yes. Back to my point though, because this is a podcast about Jacko poses and undergarments.
It could be.
It could
It
be.
could be. It could be. I think we are going to see a lot more of these genre fusions though, and they all, as far as I could tell, have been good. I had a lot of fun with 33 Immortals, which I'm pretty sure I can say comfortably now, like without revealing too much. But I mean, anyone who's seen the trailer, you could tell it. If it's not inspired by Hades, I will eat my left foot. Like, it is so Hades. So, and that's another example of a game that we've seen kind of dip their toe into genre fusions in the past. It's like a dungeon crawler roguelike, right? Isometric. You go in, you get your upgrades, you kill the room spawns a bunch of bosses in the raid like style, and then get, Bob Trunko finish your hunt and you move on. So that's a whole thing. There's another one that I played a demo of during the Steam Fest next week, which was Go Mecha Ball, which combines pinball with, it's a roguelike as well. So you get your meta upgrades and whatnot, your meta currencies, and twin stick shooting, all fused up together in a little ball. I mean, literally.
What game is this?
Go Mecha Ball.
Oh yeah, Go Mecha Ball.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun, and it's so colorful. Gosh, if you have trouble processing colors, you may want to stay away from that one. I mean,
It's great. I love it. If you can't handle colors, get out of my face. Don't even talk
it's
to me about this game.
so colorful. I almost were like, I don't have any kind of problems with like that kind of thing at all. Like the safety warnings that they plaster before every video game, uh, like those conditions don't really bother me. But I opened up that game for the first time and I was like, I might have to change my monitor settings. I didn't. Eventually, I got accustomed to it, but it is a very bright, colorful, very motion sensitive game. So just advisory there if you decide to check that out. I'm pretty sure if it's not out already, you can still play it on Steam somehow, like a demo or something. But yeah. And then this Saturday, not this Saturday, next Saturday, the 19th, we have Power World coming out.
Hell yeah, we do. Sid's most anticipated game of 2024.
And
right,
that's all I have to say about that. That's a game that fuses genres in a way.
It
I'm
sure
gonna play
does.
it,
I'm gonna
and
watch
I'm
it.
gonna laugh at the capitalism that's portrayed there, as long as they're not like, as long as it's actually tongue in cheek about it and not like promoting it. If you know what I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
like
For the uninitiated, Power World, I don't know how you could have missed this, but Power World is a monster tamer that equips you as a trainer and also your monsters that you tame and raise with guns and artillery
Hell yeah.
and, cannonade and cutlass and whatnot. So um, it's a very interesting fusion of monster taming and FPS, I want to say, maybe TPS, like a third person shooter. I'm not sure if it's over the shoulder or not. Um, and there's base building. So there's some survival crafting elements in there too. So the all of those elements really bring me together except for the guns. And like, why did they put the guns in there? I have to know because the first initial trailers, I mean, it's cool that you can have your creatures like build stuff and stuff for you, but it didn't look voluntary in those first trailers, I'm telling you that much.
Dude, they straight
It
up just put it in there because we're talking about it right now. That's the only
yeah,
reason.
it's an
it's so
assembly line,
yeah.
and they're like, it's basically like elvish,
We're docking your weight. Oh, no, please.
North
Like
Pole elves work,
You know?
it makes me fume. But it seems that that portion of it, at least, like the voluntary work that you have the creatures doing, has been upgraded to look more voluntary, which is nice, right? According to the latest trailers. The guns, though, but it's on Game Pass. The only reason I wasn't going to try it out, besides the guns, is that I would have to buy it to try it out. And I don't want to waste my money on something I don't think I'll like. But it's on Game Pass day one, so I'm willing to give it a try, begrudgingly, because who knows? I don't know. It could actually be fun. I'm I'm willing to bite the bullet and find out for science.
Hell yeah. For science.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that.
Science.
I am actually interested just to see if that game is worth more than just a laugh for 20 minutes,
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
because there's another game that's coming out that has all those other features, without the guns, and I can't for the life of me remember what it's called, but it was being kickstarted at the same time, like maybe a couple months before Pokemon Legends Arceus was announced. And so when Pokemon Legends Arceus was announced, I was like, wait, huh? Isn't this the game, the one game? And I'm gonna look it up, while we're still doing, or maybe during the gameplay portion. But I'm gonna look it up and get back to you guys on that because I want to know what that game is. So if I don't like Power World, at least I have that game, whatever it's called, to look forward to. Cool. And it's another genre fusion, monster taming, base building, things like that.
Heck yeah.
So I think that's what the landscape's gonna look like over the next year or so. Is a lot of those.
You know,
A lot of those.
I love that we can point to a lot of games, including the ones you just mentioned, that are so innovative, like you said, where the people I talked to, like extended family, I guess, over Thanksgiving, and I was joking with you guys about this in Discord that I'm just like, yo, this guy straight up just told me that there are no good games anymore, that people just don't make good games anymore. And I was like, what? So I was like, what do you play? He's like, Forza, Call of Duty, and that was it. He didn't say anything else. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? He's like, every game is $70 and they're all just the same as the ones that came before. And I'm just like, I don't know where to start. Do I start by explaining what an indie game is? And I didn't even get that far. He was not interested enough in having that conversation, but he was very upset. But that he and many, many, many others can honestly have that opinion. They really think it's true, that there's not innovation in gaming, that every game is unfinished and overpriced, that blah, 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 blah. But we can look at this and immediately come up with, 3, 4, 5 games right off the bat that are very innovative, blending genres that we maybe haven't seen together in an effective way, available on a bunch of different platforms, sometimes included in subscriptions or otherwise. But, there's a lot to enjoy, and I'd love to revisit this throughout the year and be like, hey, when somebody tells you that games are not innovative right now, show them this, show them each of these. Like, one of these has got to check some boxes for these players, because if somebody has a big enough opinion to be upset about that, then there's definitely room for them to find something they enjoy when there's such a wide variety of games available on any platform, even just console, if that's all you have. There's so much stuff out there. So yeah, I'll be excited to come back to this because, we're a big fan of genre blending around here. I mean, Sid, you've always got your finger on the pulse of a lot of that stuff, Knockout City and Go Mecha Ball and all that. So
I did find out the name of the game, by the way. It is Untamed Isles.
Untamed Isles. No guns, though.
No guns.
Well, there's always room
And
for improvement.
it's turn-based rather than, live-based. What's it called? Action-based?
Well, it'd just be like an action adventure game, but real-time strategy would be, if it was a strategy game, that's what it would be.
I mean, unlike Pal World, which is like real time. Real time.
Yeah.
Real time. I know words.
Oh yeah. Okay, well, Violets, we can bounce back to you. Still got a little bit uncovered here.
Yes. Going back to one of my favorite topics. So, a JRPG is going to win Game of the Year.
Let's do it.
That one's a really easy one to come back to.
Let's make it happen.
It's going to be Pokemon.
I mean, the thing is, it could be very obvious. The first one up is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Because, damn, it's going to be a whole thing. It's going to be...
I hope not.
What? Hope not?
Because, remake...
Because it's a remake.
Yeah. I would rather an original...
But they're intensely different, though. That's the thing. And I am going to play through remake next month, most likely, because Rebirth is really coming up fast.
This isn't a hill I'm trying to die on because I really don't have enough firsthand knowledge, but it's like, I know that the Resident Evil 4 game was remade and is significantly higher quality of a game that was already really good. I get that. Do I want that game to win Game of the Year? No, I just don't, on the principle of a remake. The same way that I don't want The Last of Us to be up for a ton of awards when they do the 6th remake of this game. It's not that the game's not great,
gonna be something,
sure. And they're great. I'm not trying to knock the quality at all, but even though Game of the Year stuff doesn't actually matter, it's just people's opinions. There's no, it only matters as much as you care about it.
Right.
Still, I'm still on the side of the fence where I'm like, I hope the remake is great,
said,
and I'm not sure I want it to
Final Fantasy VII. It's 27 years like, what was it? That was Resident Evil 4 is what, 3 generations? 27 years is like 6 almost 6. Yeah, almost 6 generations worth of consoles, but technically 4 consoles.
Was Final
But
Fantasy VII a PS1 game?
yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah, so, like, there's a
According to
big
a lot of
difference here.
people, the very best PS1 game, when obviously it's
Yeah,
mine, but,
that's
you know.
that's the other thing. But not only is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, right? But Dragon's Dogma 2, which even though it has the skin of a Western RPG, it is a Capcom game. It is a JRPG.
So
Um,
excited about that one.
yeah, Persona 3 Reload, which is going to be on Game Pass very soon. Uh, a significantly upgraded version of another JRPG that's one of the best all time. Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, which looks phenomenal. It comes out at the start of February. It's gorgeous. It looks very much like a Tales game.
It looks so good.
But it's coming from a team and a franchise that, like, we already know has amazing visuals and pretty strong gameplay, but like, it's the fantasy game that a lot of people have been wanting for a long time. And then Ayuden Chronicle 100 Heroes, the like second biggest Kickstarter RPG in the last decade. You know, the first being Sea of Stars. This one, Ayuden Chronicle, like, they got so much money they made a damn prequel game that's completely different. So this one has had several years of lead up to it as well. That's Ayuden Chronicle 100 Heroes. There's Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth. Like a Dragon and the Yakuza series are always big contenders in the Game of the
Dude,
Year
how are they
discussions.
not using AI in their games? Because the pure amount of content that they have to push to
Yeah.
make their games, like, I feel like every 4 months they've got a new Yakuza game.
That's true, but they don't change their engine often. Like, if you if you saw the first 6 Yakuza games, it was the same PS3 engine the entire
I
time.
thought they were the same game
Wow.
most of the time.
Yeah,
I didn't realize they were different games.
yeah. And then Visions of Mana, so another Mana game, another pedigree of many years of really great JRPGs. And then, of course, we've talked about it a few times. Metaphor ReFantasio, the makers of the Shin Megami Tensei and stuff from Atlas.
That's that mixed media looking game,
Yes,
right? Okay.
that's the mixed media game that just looks wild, just completely left field. I mean, I think at least half of those games are actually like active competitors in Game of the Year, just from, you know, things that the Game Awards people would play. You know what I mean? Like, the chosen judges or whatever would actually play a lot of those games. And so, you know, we don't have an Elden Ring necessarily, but we do have Senua Saga coming out. I think that one's going to be huge, obviously, but at the same time, there's good games that we know of. I think a lot of the best games that are coming out this year we don't know about, and that's really the biggest competition here. But damn, like, these JRPGs on this list and a few others that are out there that we don't know about yet are just absolute bangers. And I feel this is finally the year, despite, 2 straight years where Xenoblade was, up there and was in the discussion and didn't get shit. So
Rip.
I mean, didn't they get like
not
best
jaded.
music or something one year?
No, they got nominated.
They haven't won anything?
Rip.
No.
Well, I can't wait for Blue Protocol to come along and blow all those other games out the water.
Right? And see, Blue Protocol I didn't put on the list because it's an MMO, but it definitely is a JRPG. And so I'm wondering if that's still even going to come out. It should come out this year,
I think it's
but
already out in Japan.
it has been out in Japan, yeah, for a good bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a whole lot of good stuff. I think there's another Dragon Quest game coming that I'd completely forgotten about.
Oh,
I know
yeah.
we had one just come out, the really stupid name.
And then
But
there's Sandland, the new Akira Toriyama
yep, the
RPG coming
Sandland
out.
game. I
Mhm.
don't know that that's for sure this year, but if it does, that's going to be pretty cool. Like, so many JRPGs, so much time invested in these games that I know that so many of them have a chance at Game of the Year. Finally, and maybe we're gonna see fewer Elden Ring wannabes this year, because we're actually seeing some traditional stuff. instead of just action RPGs.
We'll see. You know, Lies of P came out of nowhere to me, and is definitely Souls-like. There was another. Well, Armored Core is like basically a Souls game with mechs. I mean, that's an oversimplification, of course, but when I watch it, I'm like, yeah, you're just doing all the same stuff. There's just lasers this time, you know.
I'm gonna play the hell out of that this year. I do have that sitting over
Oh yeah,
on my desk. Yeah,
it's a pretty game. That's a cool looking game. Mechs are just rad, you know. Let's talk about it. Okay, so yeah, well, this is a whole list of predictions. We'll have to come back at the end of the year and see where we landed, you know. And like I said, chat, everybody out there, if you have stuff that you would like us to revisit when we have this end of year discussion again, send that in to us here on chat, on Discord. You can find all of our socials on our website, partyinvite.games. And yeah, you'll see Vilos coming out with some backlog posts here in the future as he approaches, you know, as you solidify your new JRPG gauntlet. Hopefully you'll see some more stuff from me. I don't want to, you know, make any promises yet, but I have some ideas that I really want to share, and not all of it has to do with just gaming. So hopefully I have an opportunity to share that stuff because, I mean, many of you know there's one thing I like as much as video games, and I just want to share it all the time. So maybe I'll get an opportunity to do that this year. We'll see. We're right at the beginning of the year. There's nothing but time and opportunity. So awesome. So let's get this wrapped up. We're going to go play Sifu for the first time. I've had this downloaded for a while. It's been one of my most anticipated games from last year. Well, it's like a year and a half old, I think now. But last year when I bought it, it was at the top of my list, but I didn't want to play it until I was on stream. So not only am I going to be able to stream it, but I'll have Vilos and Sid here to root me on and probably heckle me a little bit too. I'm probably going to do some real dumb crap.
Hey, I got through the first two guys in this game, so
I will definitely have comments.
Oh, like the bosses, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm like,
yeah, the very first two enemies.
I'm
yeah.
like, how
I did
hard?
real well with that game. Yep.
Oh, right, because you have a PS5 too, right? And it's on the thing, right? Oh,
I actually played it on Switch though.
What?
Yeah.
How's it run on Switch?
It actually doesn't run it doesn't run too bad. I'm not going to say very good.
That was
or
a funny way
bad.
to say that.
No.
Yeah, the syntax on that was kind of sad.
I wasn't actually thinking about it when I said it, okay?
It's all good.
It's not bad. All right, it's not bad. Obviously frame rate could be better, but
sure.
Because of the way the game's presented, I mentioned to you film grain. You have to turn film grain off on something that has performance issues. So
okay,
like, yeah.
Yes, Sid. This time will be different. Yeah. Jerp says, "Don't worry, Sifu is notably very easy. Tegan will do fine." What did Jerp say earlier? I was gonna say something. Oh, we were talking about the box in the $400 box in Apex. And Jerp in chat said, "You pay $400 to buy a console to play Apex. I pay $400 to die cooler in Apex. We are not the same." So I like that. Okay, so yeah, go find our website, partyinvite.games. You can get links to all of our socials. You can find this what was I gonna say? This episode, this podcast, this show on YouTube and Spotify. They both have video versions, so go follow us. And hey, if you can give us a review or hit that like button, that also really helps. So
yeah, that is very big. Also, just a reminder: if you just happen to be on our website, the podcast is also just sitting there, and you can listen to it there if you really felt like supporting us. Because if I
just binge it.
I see that anybody gets on the website, I'm gonna cry.
Actually, I'd pay good money to see that. Please go visit the website.
Yes, please. It's a GoFundMe. Well, really, the end result.
Emotions.
Yeah. Make Vilos cry, and then in small text by visiting our website, please. We'll be here next Thursday with a what we've been playing. I'm excited to share certainly a trimmed down version of the like over a dozen games that I played since the last time we talked about it. So I know you guys are excited too. Okay. Bye bye.
Bye. And if you're on Twitch, we will see you in Sifu. Okay, bye.
Bye.